Hey, good afternoon. Kelly Adams here. I want to take a moment and dive into a few touch points around trusting the timeline. I've titled today, Trust the Timeline, How to Let Go of the Rush and Rise into Enoughness. So if you are in business, if you're an entrepreneur, if you're a high achiever, if you're climbing the corporate ladder, a lot of times we feel like it's not happening fast enough, or we get feelings of imposter syndrome, or when we see someone else rising above us, it makes us feel like, what's wrong with me? So, listen up. I'm Kelly Adams. I've been an entrepreneur for 2 decades. I'm a business consultant, a coach, a mindset expert, and my goal is to help you collapse time and walls so you too can have balance and bank without the burnout. So let's dive in. Before we start, I want to give you a few kind of green flags on how to identify if this could be what I would call invisible resistance or a roadblock in your personal life or business. One is impatience is rooted in fear. Often I find that people rush the process because they don't trust that actually what they want is coming. So it elicits this fear response in the body or this pain response. And the body's job is to stay away from pain and towards pleasure. So, when we are operating from fear based urgency, that can lead out to burnout, it can lead to poor decisions, and it can lead to self sabotage. And when those things happen, in come the imposter syndrome. Imposter syndrome thrives. It's like feeding the beast a bone every time you're measuring yourself against this fake, made up, artificial timeline that you've created. But what happens, since we're all humans here and we're having a human experience, when we think we're behind, we actually start questioning our worth. And we forget that mastery, alignment, who you're becoming, and visibility are built over time. This is not Amazon Prime, people. So, what that does is we get this sense of urgency. It feels like it's not happening fast enough. We move into imposter syndrome. And then that rush, that scattered energy drowns out the inner knowingness or the inner wisdom. When you try to skip steps, when you try to rush, what it does is it disconnects you from your body, your intuition, and your actual magic sauce, your actual genius. You can't even hear or step into your next aligned step because you're too busy proving yourself instead of pausing. I often say there is power in slowing down to speed up. But when you rush, it actually slows you down, but not in the way you're thinking. It slows you down because you have decision fatigue. It slows you down because you're comparing your journey to Betsy Sue. But instead, if you can rise into that enoughness, if you can rise into that internal knowingness, and that's what this doc is here to support you do, then that anchors you into your power. It brings you back home. You realize that you're not chasing the next step, you're choosing the next step. And when you can shift into that energy, it also shifts how you show up, how you sell, and how you lead. So I created this doc to help you trust the timeline is the strategy. So if you want the clients, if you want the results, if you want the momentum, if you want business to feel like it flows more easily, then you gotta release control. You have to begin to surrender. You have to stop gripping so tightly and move into grounding. Patience is not passive. Patience is powerful. So much of a leadership, so much of hitting that goal, so much of getting to the next thing is who you need to become to be able to hold where you're going. So let's dive into this doc really quick. So I've titled this Letting Go of the Rush and Rising into It. So I want you to take a moment and I want you to reflect on where you're feeling impatient. Be very specific here. In what areas of your business do you feel like things should be happening faster? And take a minute. If you're watching this, take a moment. Press pause. I'm going to press pause with you for 2 seconds. Press pause and take a moment to think through this. The next question I want you to dive into: what does your inner voice say when it's not going as fast as you want? I say all the time, your ego is not your amigo. So if you feel like you're not farther along, what are the thoughts? What are the stories that are on loop that keep showing up over and over and over? Are they you're not good enough? Are they nobody's going to want to see you in this position? Whatever they are, there's no right or wrong. They just have to be real and true to you. So after you've taken the time to really dive into those two questions, then you have some awareness. So you can't clear what you can't see. So once you can see it and you're aware, then it's a choice to continue to operate in this way because you're literally operating from an old pattern, an old habit. So now it's time to rewrite the story. My whole framework I use is release, reset, rewire. Often I'm using the shadow work prompts to release, pull up those reasons why, get to the root of the resistance. And then reset is this part. Complete these following statements. It's time to begin thinking a new way. And that doesn't happen overnight. It's by consciously catching it when you're in this low serving thought loop and then choosing a different behavior to the same pattern. So, for example, I used to think slow meant blank, and now I see it means blank. To me, I used to think slow meant lazy. Now I know it means that that's where I'm recharged and that's where I'm refueled to create more revenue. The next one: when I feel like a fraud, I remind myself blank. And I'm choosing to trust the timeline because blank. What if you could step into the knowingness that everything is happening for you, not to you, and that it's not the delay is just part of the becoming. It's not that it's not going to happen. It's not that you're not going to hit your goal, but you have to get comfortable with the time frame shifting, because that's where we get upset, is when we think it should have happened quicker than it happened. Let me give you a quick little tip here. Wherever you are thinking, imagine your timeline, see it to the right, go 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, 12 months. And you probably feel your goal pretty close right up here. I want you to take a nice deep breath in and release, and imagine, again, this isn't to shift that you're not going to hit your goal. It's to shift the feeling in your body so you can get back to thinking from a light place. Because if you feel like it's not happening, you're in a heavy place. So take a deep breath in and see if you can imagine and push that goal out to 6 months, 9 months. So all you're doing is taking the pressure off your nervous system. And when you do that, it's also crazy how quickly you hit your goal from leaning back and surrendering. So we've talked about releasing, creating the awareness through the shadow work prompts. We talked about resetting, you filled in the blanks, and now let's talk about rewiring. This is the hardest step. If you think of a path, a grassy path or a trail, your thoughts and patterns are such a habit that that's packed down straight. Your mind is going to automatically default to feeling behind. You have to create a new path. You have to create a new way of thinking and have a pattern interrupt to begin to shift this. So how can you step into her now? Take a moment to visualize the version of you who already has what she wants. How would she walk into that meeting today? What would she say to the part of you that's doubting? And how does she respond to obstacles or delays? You have to hold the energy of where you're going. You can't wait to be successful to feel successful. You have to be successful, and then success shows up. So I've got a challenge for you. It's a 5-day pattern interrupt. Each day, when you feel the impatience, when you're triggered, when you feel the imposter syndrome show up, you literally need to say this out loud. This is not a problem to fix. It's proof I'm building something real. And then just take a moment to write down your thoughts, how you're thinking, how you're feeling, and just create the awareness. And then the real flex is choosing to rewire this thought over and over until this thought becomes a new habit. All right, I hope this resonated with you. If you do this work, it will be a game changer. The goal isn't to get rid of anything, it's to manage your impatience, it's to manage your imposter syndrome so you can continue to trust the timeline. Have an amazing day. Chat soon.